Hello, good afternoon to our listening and viewing audience. We're happy to have you this afternoon with us here on our Whispering Hope weather update and here to update you with what's happening in the Atlantic and around our area is none other than meteorologist, Mr. Leonard Josiah. We're happy to have you. Welcome this afternoon, Mr. Josiah. And things are looking pretty interesting from my lay perspective.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are definitely, my brother. Let me say good afternoon to everyone who is tuning in here this afternoon. It's certainly, we're here to bring you all the information that's relevant to your preparation, especially going on into the deeper half of the hurricane season. Looking outside right now, we have some clouds around. Some clouds are just moving in, indicative of a weak tropical wave that's in the vicinity. But the moisture levels are not so high. So in terms of the rainfall expectation, I'm not going to give you false hope. But we can see some light passing showers during the course of the night. There's a 50% chance that we'll see some showers. My colleague Lon suggested that as the northern half of that tropical wave moves through, we should see some sprinkles here or two. But in terms of for us here in Antigua and Barbuda, it was mostly sunny day until this afternoon. Some clouds rolled on by. Well, my brother, let's go straight on in and talk a little bit more about the tropics. Got the heated. Yeah, the mic.
Yeah, well, I'm here just to learn because it looks interesting. So as you go through it this afternoon, I'm going to look and I'm going to observe and I'm going to absorb everything. Take us away.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, yesterday afternoon when I left you, we were speaking about an area of disturbed weather. That area of disturbed weather was located roughly about 1,500 or so miles to the east of, or to the east southeast of Antigua, and generally east to southeast, or generally east of Trinidad and Tobago. If I may, let me just share my screen so that I can go on and just talk about what's really happening. Well, during the past couple of hours, during the past hours of today, that area of disturbed weather got in what we call favorable atmospheric conditions. And when it got involved with some favorable atmospheric conditions, it wrapped itself up. And during the course of the afternoon, the chances of it moving, developing into a tropical cyclone moved from 40% today or early this morning to 60%, then to 90%. This was certainly what we call a developing story. If you're looking on, if you're right now looking on the satellite imagery, here is Antigua and Barbuda. These are the islands right here. And this is the area of disturbed weather that we spoke about yesterday. This afternoon, it's now tropical depression number 7. It's tropical depression number 7, and it was located roughly about 1,420 miles east-southeast of Antigua. Here is Antigua again, and this is east-southeast of Antigua and Barbuda. It's currently moving towards the west-northwest in this general direction, but in the next couple of hours, the National Hurricane Center and the computer models are suggesting that it will take a curve right back towards the west and be in the vicinity of the Windward Islands sometime during the course of the weekend. If I may, you would also see that the area of disturbed weather is tropical depression number 7 in terms of the track forecast looks pretty much like this. And the track forecast suggests that it will move on towards the west. And pardon, my scribbles are still on my screen, but you could see the general direction in which the tropical depression number 7 is forecast to go. And the S suggests that it can become a tropical storm in the next 12 hours. And if it does become a tropical storm, it will become Tropical Storm Gonzalo tonight or sometime into tomorrow, and be in the vicinity of the Windward Islands sometime 2 p.m. on Saturday. Now take a look and you would realize that it's really Antigua and Barbuda. We are outside of the cone of uncertainty. That cone of uncertainty suggests that the center can fall someplace in between Trinidad and far north as Martinique. But for right now, we are the more likely path that it will take is through the southern Windward Islands, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, just south of Barbados, sometime during the day on Saturday before it moves on towards the west and into the Caribbean Sea. So right now, we are not suggesting that there is any impact for us in Antigua and Barbuda. However, the cloudiness and the expanse of the clouds can suggest that we can see some instability and some showers moving on by during the day on Saturday as the tropical system moves on towards the west. Again, the more likely scenario that we are talking about is a passage over the southern Windward Islands, south of Barbados, in the vicinity of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, just south of St. Lucia, moving on by, at which point is likely to be a strong tropical storm of winds of 60 miles per hour with gusts up to 70 or even 75 miles per hour. So this is definitely something that we will be watching over the next couple of days, my brother, as we continue to go deeper into the hurricane season.
Well, it's getting pretty interesting. And I see that those islands down in the Windward Island that are most susceptible to mudslides when they get a lot of rain. And we know what happened in Dominica a few years ago. And they have been going through a lot, and it's passing right in that vicinity. And it's has changed drastically.
Yes.
Just yesterday we had a talk and we are talking about 48 hours, and now we're talking about 12 hours, and this could develop into a tropical storm. Interesting times, but nothing much for us as yet. But I looked at the diagram you drew right across that line. It seems like it's going to the end of what it calls Central America, somewhere there, if it keeps that course.
Well, yeah. And again, if I may take you back over just to reiterate, so that members of the general public can understand what is it that we are saying and where it is likely to go. I'm just sharing my screen one more time, and you will see that it's more likely to track over the southern Windward Islands. Antigua and Barbuda is well north, and if I may just annotate it so that we can at least see exactly where Antigua and Barbuda is. Antigua and Barbuda is right up here, okay, right in this general vicinity, and you could see that it will take a path right down towards the southern Windward Islands, and at that point, it's supposed to pass a safe distance south of Antigua and Barbuda, with much of the hazardous weather conditions remaining well to the south. However, that is not to say that some of the clouds will not pass over us, but in terms of the bulk and the core of the system, is more likely to remain further towards the south. Now, I must also put in this caveat that members of the public should also stay abreast of this situation, because any shift towards the north can mean that the core of the system can come closer to us in Antigua and Barbuda. So it's definitely something for us to watch, and we'll certainly will be keeping an eye on it in the next couple of hours. Don't be surprised if you hear about Tropical Storm Gonzalo tonight.
Well, I'm always of the opinion that when storms are out, you always keep your ears open, because even in the night hours when we're relaxing, these things have a tendency to shift depending on the conditions that exist out there. And if we are not prepared, it could catch us unawares. I can remember way back in 1989, I think it was, Hugo came in on a Sabbath afternoon. And good for us that there was a hardware store in Jennings that sold lumber. So when we got home from church after AY and the sunset, he was an Adventist as well. So he opened so that persons could get, and there we were at cars hustling with plywood on the top, because we were not prepared. And with prior information now and all the storms that have passed through, because prior to that, most of us would not have seen a storm. Those of us who were from the 60s, 70s, and 80s would not have seen a storm. But now we know what storms are. And so we know how deadly they can become, how dangerous they can be. And so we need to start preparing now.
That's correct. That's correct. And it's also true because this is the time and these things can shift. And by the way, before I leave, those individuals who want the specifics on the storm, just let me do that in just about 10 seconds. The location as of 5 p.m. this afternoon was located near latitude 9.8 degrees north, 40.4 degrees west. At that location is just about 1,420 miles east of the southern Windward Islands. Maximum sustained winds couple right now at 35 miles per hour. It's presently moving towards the west-northwest at just about 8 miles per hour. But during the next couple of hours, it's forecast to move more towards the west. It's going to bend back towards the west and increase in forward speed and head towards the southern Windward Islands. And its likely path, again, supposed to have it passing a safe distance towards the south, but impacting the southern Windward Islands on Saturday with likely winds in the region of 60 miles per hour with higher gusts at times.
That may sound small when we consider Louis and George and the others, but 60 miles per hour with gust higher than that can cause damage. And so let us all be vigilant. We want to thank you for the update today, and let us keep our eyes, our ears, and our mind fixed to following this particular tropical depression that could become a tropical storm if conditions remain favorable in the next few hours. So I want to thank you for the update. And I know people are leaning their ears. They want to know what's happening out there. Yes. So pleasant evening to you. And I see you again this afternoon. Today is not your day. Maybe you'll be called upon when the storm is in the area. Hopefully.
Possibly, who knows?
Okay, man. Have a great evening.